Sounds like a tragedy. The notes may sound melancholy, but it couldn't be further from the truth.
With such an amazing group of people and such strong leadership, People First of San Luis Obispo has accomplished so much. One of the proudest moments of this group took place while working outside the city limits. In the early 2000s, California experienced major budgeting issues that threatened the support of the disabled community.
That sometimes I understand that gets lost in the budget process, because people look at the big picture and say, well, you know, we're spending all this money over here, we're not getting anything, we'll cut that money. Well, then the downside of that is 6 months later, 40% of those people are receiving care in emergency rooms, which is dramatically more expensive than providing them $10 care in their homes.
There were countless trips to Sacramento to address the government about the importance of these irreplaceable funds.
A lot of people going up there for the budget crisis back in the early 2000s. I mean, that really, I think, got people realizing, wow, we can make a difference.
Well, one of the other activities that People First has been very involved in is with the recession and the tight budget up in California. The funding for support out in the community was really in jeopardy, and members of People First went up to Sacramento and spoke very emotionally to the lawmakers there, and let them know that it's actually cheaper to support people with disabilities in the community versus the high cost of sending people back to a state hospital where they're not interacting in the community. It's very restrictive. And because of that, the legislators realized, why would we make cuts in this program that are only going to cost us more money? And I know United Cerebral Palsy and other groups were trying to tell the legislators that this is the case. It wasn't until the advocates themselves went up to Sacramento that the politicians started to listen.
The members of People First of SLO would go in force. All of them would pile into vans and buses to take that 5-hour drive to Sacramento. On the day of the hearing, they would spend the majority of the day waiting in the hallways of the state capitol for their turn to speak. They would then wait in line in the hearing room for a chance to testify.
When they had a hearing in Sacramento, I went with Dave and Mary Peacock and a couple others, and we went and fight for the budget to pass.
I have to be able to go in there and say what we want and say what we need to make our life work for us the way we want it to.
Being in Sacramento in the capital is like really overwhelming. It's like incredible just being there. Just going down to like the subcommittee chambers and just being able to speak what I felt about like my about the possible at the time I think was they were talking about cutting Social Security, and I wasn't really interested in having that done. You know, I don't really make a lot of money at all, or no money at all. I don't have a job, so I need that funds to to live and just to get about my daily, get about the day.
Waiting until you turned up. First they talk about the subject, and then you get your turn after they're done talking. And so a long couple of it, but at first then to get your point across.
The rights of the disabled community all over California became a large focus of People First of SLO. In 2006, People First of San Luis Obispo set out to change the way the disabled community of California voted.
The Warren Mattingly Signature Stamp Act. Until that time, which was about up until a year ago or so, year and a half, people could not sign those that could not sign their names could not legally vote on an absentee ballot.
For many years, adults with developmental disabilities that could not hold a pencil or a pen to write their name on legal documents used a signature stamp. These signature stamps were held by banks and many other institutions as a legal signature, but under the voting law, that was not the case.
We had to make a mark. I go, but I have a stamp. And they go, can't take it.
The Warren Mattingly Signature Stamp Act was a real big issue that we got passed like a while ago, where people with disabilities don't have to mark an X as their name. They can actually use a stamp that has their signature or a signature that they approve of as their legal signature.
In 2007, with the help of Sam Blakesley, they created Law AB 18, the Warren Mattingly Signature Stamp Act.
It's very fast. Yes.
Awesome.
And well, again, a couple of our guys went up to the legislature to testify in front of a committee, and the committee chair said, "Oh, it's the wrong committee. It's supposed to go to this other committee first, but you're here. Let's just hear what you have to say." And the three of the guys that were there spoke up, and the committee chair said, "You know what? We're not going to pass it. We're going to vote on it now to send it to the floor." And they unanimously passed it to the floor. So it was really neat. Peter Stoner was really a big part of that. He brought it up. He went up there and spoke, and he uses an augmentative communication device. He speaks using just his left foot on a switch. But he's a great example of someone that you would think, oh, well, obviously this guy can't do anything or say anything. And he's just a very eloquent speaker when he's able to write out what he wants to say. And it's just very powerful. So he's a big part of our self-advocacy group here.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
I had talked to Sam Blakesley about the whole process where he became involved and met everybody at People First. And I think he realized how important it is for people with developmental disabilities to live in the community, have total access to the community, and to be able to vote.
Yeah, because they couldn't sign their name. So the Signature Stamp Act allowed them to do that. The passing of the Signature Stamp Act allowed people with disabilities who could not use their hands to do that, yes.
In 2010, the Supported Life Institute awarded People First of San Luis Obispo the 2010 Inclusion Award for their success of the Signature Stamp Act.
I want to acknowledge myself also, the friends from People First who have done such a great job in not only taking on learning about leadership, but actually displaying it through their lives. And they're great friends of mine. Thank you. Anyway, I just want to say that the real testimony is for all of you to carry on that dignity of the fight, but also with compassion and decency, because when we carry that forth, life is worth living. And thank you very much.
I have it great to have all kinds of people getting the awards, and to me, I was glad to be part of People First to get a first Kilton award.
Well, that was a great honor for our group to get the Inclusion Award, because People First, one of the things that People First also means, at least to me, is to do just that. Include everyone who has a disability, who chooses to be in our group, and not exclude anyone whatsoever. We cannot, and we should not.
Well outside their comfort zone, they showed true commitment to the idea that men and women should be judged more by the merits of their character than by their physical limitations. This is what People First of San Luis Obispo had set out to do, and this is just what People First of San Luis Obispo has done.
Dreams are not enough to satisfy this emptiness inside us. We'll never give up.
Music for today's episode is by Dan Curcio, Nothing Ever Stays, and by Graffiti Jamboree. If you'd like to learn more, please visit us at peoplefirstslow.org.